Hello and welcome back to the Get to Know Me series. I'm Nicky Watt. I'm joined today by Mark, and this is a bonus episode. We've been talking off air. The juices are flowing. I'm buzzing for this. So, Mark, how are you? Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to everyone watching.
Happy New Year, bud. Happy New Year to everyone listening.
How are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just recovering. I'm feeling much better now. So happy days. Happy
Good.
days.
Like to hear it. So we had a couple of requests, and what one are you going to give me?
So shout out to Hockey Fights UK. Excellent job online. I mean, Drop Your Gloves has gone. So the closest thing you've really got is guys like this that put the time and effort together to put videos for us to just look back on and just laugh at.
Yeah,
we
we love
miss
them
heavily
boys.
and cry. Yeah.
Yeah, I miss that side of the game so much. Shout out to British Hockey Fights, man. Like Hockey Fights UK is where it's at. Not only that, he's a great guy, and he put a couple of comments on. So, what are we going with?
So he wanted to know the 5 best fights you're on the ice for or were in, but from memory, you'll drop the gloves. I think you had more than your fair share of fights. So let's have. And normally, when I ask a question, you give me. When I ask for 5, you give me about 200. You give me about 200 anyway. So,
Yeah, so
let's go with just pick a bunch of your best, man. I'm sure people are going to love it.
Some of my best fights. Okay, so as you know, Drop Your Gloves is no more, and I don't know how I managed to do this. Right, so I've got a scrapbook here. I'm going to go through it with you guys. So I completely fluked this. So we got a bit of the old Swindon advertiser. Fucking hell, this is going to be a pain in the ass. What else we got? Okanagan. 5 tucks in that game. Not a big deal. Electric Watt lights up the hive. What have we got here? Yeah, just a little 5+1. Not too bad. We got some junior statistics. So here you go. You'll know some names on this list. So the league, I led the league in the juniors that year. I think it was the under 16 year. Two back, Lee Jameson, Lee Breers, John Dewar, Joe Miller, Mark Richardson, Joe Greener. Who else have we got on there? Sean Thompson, Ryan Blackwood. There's a name for some of you guys. But yeah, playing for IMG. GB when we won the gold medal. Tommy Carlon, 14 points in 5 games. Not a big deal at all.
Ridiculous.
Shout out to him. By the way, I got 6 goals in that tournament. It was me, him, and Mike Richardson on the line. I didn't get a single assist apparently. The guy had 10 goals. I passed him the puck pretty much all the time, and I didn't get a single assist in the whole tournament. Got fucked by the refs.
Yeah, how does that work out?
But here, anyway, so you're talking about fights. So before Drop Your Gloves went down, one day I just decided I was gonna print all my shit off, and I don't know why, but I did it, and I'm so glad I did it.
That's the kind of shit you want under your bed.
Yeah, well, I've got it. Here you go. Look at this. Look at this Slough Jets picture right here. We've got Watty here next to Uncle Wazza. We got Scotty Mac down the bottom there. We got Wish, Andy Hanna, Horny. I can't really see very well on here. But yeah, so that was my 2005, 2006 fights. None of them were any of my best work. I don't think. It was very early on. There's probably some stories from there though. We could definitely tell some stories. Let's go back a season. Let's go back a season to my first fight in the EPL. It was this is what we missed. Drop Your Gloves, and the guy that did Drop Your Gloves, you were a legend, and you've turned into the biggest wanker on the planet.
Like, why did it stop?
Just give someone the data. Just give someone will buy that website off you with all that information. It would be the most valuable website for hockey fight fans. I know some people are trying to build one, but hey, we'll see what happens. Right, so my first fight, it was on October the 16th, and it was against Andreas the Bomber Kaminskis, and it was a great scrap. Like we battled in front of the net and the old Slough barn. I came round, him and Kozik were going at a little push and shove, so I just stepped in. And yeah, we went at it. I didn't really know who he was. I'd only been in the league for about 10 minutes. And nice. we just started trading, and it was a good fight. I think I probably got the edge on that, if I'm honest. My next fight that year, It was up in Romford. Big boy Craig
Surprise.
Britton. No, but it was Craig Britton, Peterborough boy. He stepped up on me, and I was like, right, let's go. And I dropped my gloves, and if I remember right, they hit 2-3, and he went down, but I can't remember if he dropped his gloves or not. Jake French, probably the worst I've ever been punched on the ice. Jake French punched me in the eye. I've shared the picture of my black eye before. And then you had the old fucking Pete, the medic, in there trying to stick his fingers in my eye with no gloves on. That guy was a disaster. Ask anybody from Slough about Pete, the medic. Honestly, the dude was a clusterfuck on some of the shit he used to do. I bet you right now Terry Miles is sitting and watching this video, laughing, going, "There you go, Pete." Oh, he could do such a good impression of him as well. I should maybe have to ring Tel for a voice note, but add a little voice note into this video. Okay, 5th of February, Peterborough again, Antti Kavaka. Now, I tried to fight him every game I played him. He was a cheap piece of shit. And if I remember rightly, this was in the handshake. Oh no, I fought him in the handshake maybe a little bit later. This was the first time I fought him. Yeah, just speed bagged him. He was a fucking soft piece. He was soft. Who else after that? Neil Leary, my boy Neil Leary. Obviously, we grew up playing juniors together. He chopped me in the wrist. I skated across the blue line, and he chopped me in the wrist, and I chopped him back. And I think like the wires crossed, and I ended up having a little tilt with Leary. I don't know if he's ever been in many more, but out of that came one of the best pictures in the world. So, you got the old fucking face in a plexi thing. And there's this kid, he's like, in the background, right? There's that, and there's also the kid in Bracknell when I hit Ben Wood from Manchester, and there's a picture of me. I'm all the way off the ice, and I'm coming through, and the kid's up against the boards, and he's like that, right? So I shared that picture a little while back, and the lad's brother fucking atted him in it. He's like 25 now. He's like, am I still getting tagged in this fucking picture? Like, I guess he just gets tagged in it every time it comes around or whatever. But yeah, it's great to relive some of those memories. And then it says I fought Andrew Robinson here. That I don't ever remember fighting Robbo, so I don't know what happened there. Oh, in the crossover cup, we that was the year we played in Victor. I speed bagged that Carl Lennon behind the net. I know there was 2 Lennon brothers, but yeah, they were up trying to play with the big boys where they belong back down in the ENL. That crossover cup was ridiculous. I remember Chinny going, "I'm not going to Invicta. Nah, nope, I'm not fucking going down there." And by the way, then we had a mandatory team night out in Milton Keynes before the. I think we stayed in Northampton or something. We were supposed to stay away, so we didn't go out. But then obviously we stayed away, so we went out, and then we rocked up to Invicta. I think it was 2-2 at the end of the second, and Wazza went fucking ape shit. He went ape shit, and all of a sudden we were all getting in trouble. Rock it up in the third period and get a little victory. The year after, Richard Whiting. I had no business fighting Richard Whiting. I should have never been fighting him. He wasn't a fighter, but it was a brawl between the benches. And if you remember the old Ron Valley way, there was nothing in between. It was just like steps and loads of pissed off guys here, loads of pissed off guys here. And obviously I'd already fought like Bomber and whoever. I think at this point on the bench, there was like Chinny, Greener, Power, maybe Chocky. I can't remember. There was a few boys there, and it was all getting a bit tasty. But yeah, I had a fight with Richard Whiting on the ice. He didn't do too good there. Fidzy, again, another guy that I should have never been fighting, but I was still young. Like, I didn't know who any of these guys were, really. Looking back, obviously, I shouldn't have been fighting any of them, but yeah, Fidzy didn't do too well in that one. Ryan Stanton, we were about the same age. We grew up. The Stanton boys are great lads from Telford. We had a pretty good scrap down in Slough one night. I definitely got the edge, I'd say. More than the edge. But, it was always fun. What else have we got? 2006, 2007. Darren McKay, I think the fight's still on YouTube. It was shit. It was a something or nothing. He was a big Peterborough import that year, Canadian fella.
Yeah.
He was all right, actually. Not a bad player. Mike Brabham. So this was on the island, sorry. And I got suspended for 3 games for headbutting him. So anyone that knows Bubbles knows he's a fucking lunatic. and he was at normal game. He's a goalie. He's at everybody, right? So we have the handshakes, and we're in the handshake, and I'm behind Norm in the handshake, and he sort of like bumps into him, and as soon as he does that, sort of, gloves are off, and me and Bubbles are going at it, and I hit him with a couple, and we're kind of locked out like this, and he's got goalie pads on, so you can't really go over the top. I was like,
oh man. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, red mist, mate. I didn't know what to do. So, hey, if someone's got your arms tied up, it's what it is. Dean Tonks. This one was classed as unfair on. This is a fun one. This one was classed as unfair on Drop Your Gloves, and so we were playing up in Peterborough one night, and we were getting fucking pumped. I mean, pumped. It was 10-2 maybe. We have a face off. We have a face off with, I don't know, 20 seconds left. We call a timeout. We call a timeout. Face offs in the offensive zone. We put out. Oh, let me have a look. We put out. It was me, Norm, Jason Coles, Richie Hargreaves, and Andrew Robinson.
With 20 seconds left of the game, yeah.
In a 10-2
10-2
game, right? So we've got timeout. We got 5 forwards out there, yeah. We got 5 forwards out for the. We win the draw, but obviously it's like we got D forwards playing D. They pinch in or whatever. Tonksy gets the puck. He skates down the fucking left. He's wheeling, and he goes through the legs, shelf. Like, if you were ever going to do that, that was not the time. So obviously I've grabbed Tonksy. Everybody's dropped their shit. Everybody's trying to get to him. Even his own teammates are like, what the fuck is going on? So I get Tonksy. I think he's still he might still be in a cage, or he's just fresh out of a cage. I can't remember. So he's getting a few licks. He jumps back onto the Phantoms bench, and he walks around through the fans in his equipment back to the Phantoms locker room. He didn't come back on the ice for the handshakes. Do you know what? He actually, in all fairness, that year, he bought me a beer at the Coventry playoff finals. I was like, sorry, what? I don't even know what the fuck I was thinking. I was like, I don't know what you was thinking. You have the toughest line in the league on the ice, and you go through the legs to make it 11-2. Like, well, what were you doing? Oh wow, this is fun. Let's see what else we got. 2007, 2008, Yanni Melakar. Puck goes up the boards on the island away in front of where the away fans sit. I come and hit Yanni on the boards. Yanni gives me a cross check. And this is where the game's a little bit different now. Like, a lot of people just get cross check and stand there. Getting a cross check, like, I don't give a shit if you're a Euro, bud. You're going to cross check and I'll beat the wheels off you. And yeah, Yanni didn't fare too well. But I ended up sitting next to Yanni and Swindle. What a great guy. Shredded. Great abs. Like, he took his nutrition seriously. He took the off ice seriously. I loved Yanni. What a guy. James Goodman, Sheffield lad. I used to try and fight him all the time. I think I actually jumped him in this one because he wouldn't go, and I just no choiced him. It was not enough was enough. You try to fight a guy for 15 games and he doesn't do it, but they carry on playing exactly the same way. Then something had to be done, and it was Lee Brathwaite. I was always intimidated by Braths. You know, big scary black dude. Like, I was like, oh my god. And then again, I got to play with Braths. What a guy. What an absolute legend. So when I fought him on the island. I kept him in tight. And he actually held on a lot more than I thought he would. I actually was probably the more active guy. But I'm not going to lie. When I dropped my shit squared up, I was like, oh man, I'm going to get my ass tuned. Do you know, just looking at him, I was like, oh, Braths is going to beat me up. Like, this is going to
start. Would you say it's your biggest surprise going into a fight?
At that point, yeah, probably. Actually, no, Jake French punching me in the eyeball. That was probably my biggest surprise. but yeah, second to that, it would have definitely been that. Kurt Irvine. Funnily enough, this is the only time me and Kurt fought. There was a shift, and it was again on the island. Put puck deep, ran the D-man. It comes out. I run the guy. They go down, have another shot. It comes back. I then run a guy in front of their bench. I knew I was on the ice against Kurt, Muzzy, and whoever else. So when I made that third hit, I turned around and I had my gloves off. Like I knew somebody was coming. I didn't know who it was going to be, and it was Kurt. And we both threw like two, and then fell over. He was on the bottom. He had his hand towards my eye. I was pulling his hair. He was like going to punch me. I was like going to stick. And we kind of talking about it. I was like, if one of us does something, the other one's going to react. And then, yeah, we never actually, me and Kurt never actually fought after that. I don't know how, but we just.
You know what? You don't really get that so much nowadays. Well, from the games I've watched, where you see someone putting a hit on someone and know it's gonna cause some shit. You don't see
you
it
can't
often.
run three guys.
Drop the gloves. You don't normally, people just sort of hold on now, but like you say, you drop the gloves as soon as you knew it was coming.
Oh yeah.
I wish that happened more in today's game, where people just knew, you know, I'm gonna get it here. Let's go.
Preaching to the choir, my friend, preaching to the choir. And then the last two fights of that year were back to back, and the first one was Joe Miller. The first one was on the island against Joe Miller. This was something I wasn't really comfortable with because me and Millsy were such good friends growing up. I went to play for a Cardiff Select team in New York that Dave Miller, Joe's dad, put together. I played conference all the way up, played some GB with Joe. Always friend. Don't get me wrong, you fight your friends on the ice, but he was battling with Sherms in front of the net, and he gave him a cross check. And I remember coming in, and I think I beat him pretty badly in that first one. And it was weird. I got to Peterborough 2 weeks later, and Millsy came round to me in the locker room while I was having coffee. He's like, "Watty, can you give me one tonight?" I was like, "Yeah, man. All right." He's like, I want to do better. I want to do better. So we everybody knows it's going to happen. It's one of them. Everybody in the building knows it's going to happen. The referees know it's going to happen. The fans are obviously starting to realize it's going to happen. And we line up in national anthem. And I look over to him. I was like, "You got no fucking elbow pads on?" And he went, "No." So when we square up, right? I was like, "You're going to give me a minute to take my elbow pads off?" He's like, yeah. So we drop our shit. I get my elbow pads off. I'm not giving him the advantage. I was like, veteran move, by the way. I like that shit. So, we square up. We have a pretty good one. Again, I'm going to say that I won that one. But I think Millsy did well. He wasn't overly a fighter. But he, as a silky hand, smooth goal scorer. What a player,
Loved
by the
him.
way.
Loved him.
But yeah, it was nice that he could add that to his game. And you got to remember, when I was playing, I'm not the size I am now. I'm 82, 83, 84 kilos. So I'm about the same sort of size as most of these guys. I think probably because I fought more, people put me in some sort of category that I wasn't really in. I was never a heavy.
Nah, you were just game.
Who else we got? Right, so 2008, 2009, TC. Again, going back to like playing Junes with TC, I really didn't want to fight Tom. But
Big guy.
Great guy. He's basically, so we're up in Telford, and similar sort of thing. It'd be chippy as fuck game. Castles had been running around, being a prick. Pete's got us over at the bench, and he's got me, my brother, Jamie Hayes, maybe Sitko. I can't remember. He put out like 4 guys on a penalty kill, like 3 forwards. We kill a penalties. The puck drops. Somebody kills Castles. Line brawl ensues. I'm trying to get to anybody, but TC's got hold of me. I'm like, "Dude, you got to let go. I got to get into that line brawl. My brother's over there. Everyone's over there." And he wouldn't let go. I was like, "Well, if you're not going to let go, then
then I'm going to go.
we're gonna have to go." There was a video kicking around because the Shropshire Press were there. I'd love to find all the articles in that because it was hilarious. The league went bananas. But yeah, that was a really fun line brawl to be a part of. Steve Duncan, that was just up against the boards. Again, mates with Dunks, played GB with him. Great lad. Shit fight. Crofty, that wasn't a bad fight. He fights with like a 3/4 shield on. Crofty was the first person, by the way. So all these fights I taught, he was the first person to hit me with a body shot. And I was like, "Oh! Oh!" I didn't expect it. I had not been hit with a body shot before. I just got to the box. I was like, "Crofty, did you just fucking punch me in the stomach? What was that about?" Like, that wasn't very nice. Like, it wasn't very nice,
Punch
was
me
it?
in the face.
Yeah, punch me in the face. I'm ready for that. And then one of my favourite fights. So if I was doing a top 5, this would be in it. And it was Swindon Bracknell, December the 7th, 2008-2009 season. If you remember, the very first shift, Lee Brathwaite and Joe Greener fought. And the second shift, me and Bomber fought. And Aldi wouldn't let me on the ice for the first shift. I was fucking tamping because we knew this was arranged between the boys. Like Tuesday for practice, everybody knew this was going down Saturday. Like everybody knew. So buzzing. They start, and we got Braffs lined up on the right wing, Joe Greener lined up on their left wing. Braffs is a fucking D-man for a start. And I'm like, oh, I'm starting. He's like, nope, get on the bench, Watty. They've got Kaminskis out there. They've got a fucking, I think Bairdy's out. They've got a few guys that are pretty tough. Like, we've got Braffs, and that's it. I'm like, if this goes haywire, I was like, no. Anyway, so Braffs and Greener fight. Greener splits him above the eye. And Bomber's on the ice. And I'm like, Bomber, me and you? He's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. He's like, let me go. He's like, yeah. So the puck drops, bang, drop. And this video's out there from
is that in the corner?
It ended up in the corner. It started at center ice. If you the video's out there, it's a good scrap. Like, we went at it. I broke my hand in that fight, and I broke my thumb. That was one of the worst breaks. That was so painful.
That's fucking horrible.
Yeah, that was really bad break. That hurt. But my first game back was January the 18th, and it was against Romford, and I had a fight with Bomber. And this was just something in the play, but this is why I always have massive respect for Andrius Kaminskas. So when we were hitting the boards, and it just to kind of happen, drop the gloves, and I'm like, dude, my hand's still fucked. And he was like, that's it, it's done. Didn't throw any. We tied up. We let the linesman come in. Linesman came in, and like, yeah, because my hand was still mangled. And then later that year, February 15th, first fight with Michael Wales. That was a good one. That was up under the bar in Swindon. We both threw a decent amount of punches. I maybe landed the last one, and yeah, that was a fun one. It was always good because, again, I don't know how me and Muzzy had never actually dropped the gloves to that point. We'd always been in each other's ears. I think maybe it was a respect factor or whatever.
Such a tough guy as well, man. Like, really.
Yeah.
As I used to, in a hockey term, I used to dislike him because being a phantom. But man, did I appreciate his game.
Yeah, I love
like, he's such a good player. And the way he just pisses you off.
Yeah, it just gets right in the kitchen. And then there was Sean Wallace twice in the end of that. It wasn't really much of a fight, to be honest. He went after Sitko. I just jumped on from behind, grabbed him. We were up against the boards, threw a couple of weeks later. He asked me to go again. I was like, I'm not going to fight you. You're a fucking plug. Like, you're an absolute plug. Like, I only fought you last time because you're going after our import. Otherwise, I would never. So he jumped me. And I got kicked out of the game for that. It was bullshit. I didn't even do anything. I literally, as soon as he jumped me, I just went like that. Punched me in the side of the helmet a couple of times. It was pointless. I was thinking, right, we're going to get a 5-minute PP. And the ref kicked me out. It was shocking. Right, what else we got? So, James Morgan, that was a terrible fight. But there was a great fight in that game. Carl Graham and Joe Miller went absolutely hammer and tongue at each other. What a tilt. If you haven't seen that, Google Joe Miller, Carl Graham, what a fight.
Is that in Peterborough when...
in Peterborough, yeah.
Where Miller, did he do his cheekbone or something?
Yeah, he fractured his cheekbone. It was a hell of a punch.
One hell of a fight.
Yeah, they both were winning that fight at stages. It was good. And then obviously we had TC and Morsey go in that one. James Archer fought him. Actually, probably one of the guys that I underestimated the most that first time I fought him. And it was a good fight. But yeah, I really underestimated. Definitely a draw there. Waller, I can't remember. That must have been just in a sort of line brawl or something. Waller's my boy. I don't know. We ended up scrapping a couple of times. Lidsey, only ever fought Lidsey once. Again, you would think that me and him would come together more than that. It happened in front of the net. It's rated 5.5 on here, but I didn't think it was that great of a fight. So, Fordy, this was a good one. This was Jack. Well, I'll tell you what, it was. Fuck me, it was 12 years ago today. 12 years ago today, me and Fordy.
12 years ago. Me
and Fordy threw down in the New Year's game at Bracknell Swindon, and I was chasing Castles around the rink. Chasing him around the rink. Fucking 10 step. telling Steve Nell to send anybody, and I think Fordy was just like, someone's gonna have to go him here because he's just not gonna. He's just gonna keep chasing the import around. I can't remember what Castles did, but actually, if you want to see if you see that picture there, I don't know if you can see it.
You're like, no, there you go. That's okay.
See that? That's Castle's
Zoom.
head. That's my elbow. So whatever he did, he was getting one of them. But yeah, me and Fordy was a good fight, by the way. That was quite a long one. We both threw some knucks. And then I switched to lefts at the end and hit Fordy with a couple. He comes round to the room after the game. He goes, what? Sent you a fucking Happy New Year text yesterday, and today you punched me with the left. What's with the left switch up? He did. He came over to the room. He came and we were hanging out in the room afterwards, having a chat. Who else? Chris Douglas. So that was in warm up in Swindon. We were out on the ice first, and I was literally divvying the pucks up half and half. But Disco must have thought I was just going to steal all the pucks, so he just came over and like got right in the mix. And yeah, next thing, me and Disco are having a tilt in warm up. I've fought quite a few goalies in my career actually. JJ McGrath. Well, I don't know what to say about this one. JJ's my boy, but we had a fight. I actually had my hand taped up, and I didn't want to cut his face. So if you look at the start of that, I untape my hand, and he gives me a second to get like the tape off my hand. You'll see me doing that. And me and JJ, we chucked nuts for a bit, but yeah, he'll tell you that I won that one, and it was a good one. It was a long one. He was about as game as they come as well. And then last one, Tommy Duggan. Yeah, that was a slashing and pushing and slashing, shoving match on a penalty kill, I believe, and we're going back up the ice. And then I ended up fighting him just by the Bracknell home bench. I landed a couple of punches straight down the middle that kind of finished that one. Again, I got to play with Tom Duggan. What a guy. I broke my hand in that fight as well. I fucking punched
Once it goes, that's it.
Yeah, I broke this one about 9 times. Year after, pre-season, Viktor Kamenko, the big old unit that Bison signed, just a push and shove and match in front of the net, but I wasn't going to stand there and let him push and shove me. So he got a couple of punches and then turtled. It was a shit fight. Andre Smolter,
MK. But was he a defenseman? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know if I'm remembering that right.
I can't even.
Let me fast forward. Let me fast forward. I can't find it. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember fighting Smolter, but I obviously did. I obviously did fight him, but I can't remember. He probably did something. I probably just punched him. Scott Greenfield, he got a bit excited in a brawl in Guildford one night, and he got his ass handed to him pretty bad. I don't even know what he was doing on the ice.
Was that when you were with Phantoms?
Nope, I was with Bracknell, so it was a derby game.
Oh,
October 27th, Bracknell Guildford, and then again going back into my top 5. We're going to go with Thomas Jeffrey, which was the start of the game ding dong on January the 22nd. Oh, we got a good old start of the game ding dong here. Thomas Jeffries and Nicky what? I love that commentary. Yeah, I've had a couple
quality. Those highlights were awesome.
Love that. But yeah, Thomas Jeffrey, tough kid. I'll tell you a little backstory that probably not a lot of people know about that fight. So the week before, by the way, I'd never fucking known who this Thomas Jeffrey kid was. And in my opinion, I thought at that stage, I'd fought enough people that I could decide when I want to fight and when I don't want to fight. And we were playing in the Bracknell the game before. Their coach was Curtis Cruikshank, who was my teammate in Basingstoke. And he sends his kid out to come and fucking fight me. And I was rattled. Because it was like a close game. And obviously, that year I had 58 points that year. So like I needed to help the team win fucking games as well. But I said to that kid, I was like, go fucking fight a couple of people. And then next time we'll go. And I think the game after he fought Lee Jameson. And then he fought, he maybe fought somebody else.
Behind the net, I remember.
And we rock into Peterborough as well. And we got Bracknell, we'd lost like the last 3 games. We'd lost to Romford. So we were going in and we were on a bad streak. So I said, look, I went up to Curtis Cruikshank and I said, you're fucking sending that kid first shift tonight. He was like, no, I'm not. I was like, yeah, you are. And I was like, you fucking think you're going to come into my barn last week and do that? He's fighting me off the first draw. And do you know what? I put him down like 3 or 4 times. He kept getting up, man. One of them, I dragged him back up. I don't think he really wanted to get back up. But he was a tough kid. He started very well in that fight. He started really well, but I don't think he was expecting. I think maybe took his foot off the gas when he thought he had me down, and realistically, I just slipped. But when I came up, if you look where I got him grabbed when I came up, I came up through the middle and over the top, and it just completely changed the fight. But yeah, that was up there. Chris Gramandis, I bit him during this fight. He was a big 6'5" Lithuanian, Latvian. What is it? So apparently I gave up 6 inches and 24 pounds to him in that fight. It was up in Ice Sheffield. It was at the far end, hit him against the boards. He was a cheap piece of shit anyway. And I was like, this is my chance. We got to go here. And we dropped the gloves, and I've got him pinned up against the plexi, and I'm coming up on him. He can't do anything. I'm just hitting him, pounding him. And then he goes like that, and we're doing that, and he sticks his fingers in my mouth. I bit his fucking fingers so hard. Like, he screamed. And I was like, ah! On the way to the box, he's going to the ref. He bit me. And the ref comes in, and he goes, what? Did you bite him? And I was like, yeah, man, he fucking fish hooked me. He put his fingers in my mouth. He's like, 2 + 2 for roughing. And I was like, yeah, boy. Yeah, I think he ended up with the extra penalty in that fight. Who else? Stuart Brittle. Again, should have never fought Stuart Brittle. Was actually squared up with Lee Haywood. And me and Haywood were centre ice Bracknell. And I mean, I'd wanted to fight Haywood for a while as well, because just the way he played, the way I played.
Oh, man, yeah, it was another one.
I had my gloves off, squared up, I was buzzing because I was like, yeah, I'm going to pump this guy. It's been a long time coming. And next thing, Stewie Brittle stepped in like he was Andre Pyatt. I was like, what are you doing, Brittsy? And yeah, that didn't last very long. Same game was when Craig Elliott cross-checked me from behind. There's a video.
Is that where he falls at the beginning and then
he cross-checks me from behind, and then no, that was in Basingstoke. That's the first time I fought Elliott. It wasn't a very good fight. Punched him into the ice. I didn't really punch many people into the ice. When he cross-checked me from behind, there's videos out there. I was punching his head as hard as I can. I was trying to punch his head through the ice. He nearly broke my back with that cross-check. It was fucking disgusting. Pisey sent him as well, so fuck you, Pisey. And then Andrew McKinney. This was the last fight, 2011. So this started in warm-up. We were shooting pucks at each other in warm-up. like legit shooting pucks. And yeah, we went off the opening draw. Probably one of my that was a really good scrap. It got rated.
He's always in good fights. Always in good fights, man. He's game as fuck. I love him.
Yeah, we both like chucking nucks, so yeah, pretty open. So that was a good one. Wow, it's a long episode. So bravo if you're sticking with us. You must be a hockey fight fan if you're still here. Wait there. What else have we got? Let's fast forward. So 2011, 2012, Thomas Jeffrey up in Sheffield again. I would love to see the video of this fight. I think it was just as good as the first fight.
Nice. I don't remember.
No one would have seen it. So I was playing for Swindon then. Early September, late September. Sorry. Up in front of the Sheffield. It's mad how much you remember when you start thinking about it, and you've got something like this to look at. Up in front of the net. Started very similar to the last one, pretty open. I took over towards the end of the tilt, but mad respect for Thomas Jeffrey. What a kid. Josh Bruce down back in Swindon. That one was chucked him around like an empty tracksuit. it was quite bad. Bit of a speed bag. Scott Spearing. Now this one was classed as unfair, and anybody you'd have seen the video. That
doesn't surprise me.
You'd have seen the video out there where he went. So the first shift, he just keeps going after Pinky, and I'm watching him follow Pinky around. Clouts blows the whistle, and you'll be able to hear about this, because I actually hit Clouts my helmet with this one. We'll better hear about this on 4,000 Counting very soon, because if you haven't heard, he is coming on. So we are going to be, we're going to be trying to behave. We're not doing anything. Then obviously Spearing does this. So I go after Hog, jump him a little bit, throw a couple, try to get up and like square up. He wasn't having it. And then that brought me on to one of my favourite fights, top 5 again. My first one with Bradley Watchhorn. He kind of gets a jump on me, jumped me a little bit, but Then I turn around, toe to toe. What a tilt. We just were throwing knuckles because Brad is about as game as they come. Obviously, he does MMA and bare knuckle boxing and fighting gypsies on gypsy camps and pretty much anything. He's another one that's coming on the podcast soon, which is going to be fun to reminisce some stories with him. But yeah, that was a good tilt. Kurt Reynolds wasn't really much of a tilt. We both fell over pretty quick. Again, mates with Kurt growing up. And then Brad Watchorn, we fought early doors in another fight in Swindon. This is what there's a picture of my jersey over my head, but that was toe to toe as well. That was a good scrap. That was a solid draw in that one. Aaron Connolly and Sam Waller. Now, if you watch the Slough vs Swindon YouTube video, when Seski slashed my brother off the bench, then my brother challenges the bench, and then everybody's fighting on the bench. You got equipment manager Rico grabbing people and people chucking water bottles, and yeah, it was chaotic. And then Grant McPherson, apparently it was a win, but it wasn't a great fight. We fought at the end of the game in Milton Keynes one day, squared up, went centre ice, and a couple of punches fell over. It wasn't nothing to write home about. And then another one of my top 5 fights, I done extremely well against Muzzy. Out of the 3 times I fought, this was probably the best I'd done against him. He can't remember who he went after, and Hoogie skated past the bench, and I just fucking grabbed Hoogie from the bench and pulled him into the bench. Went down under the scoreboard and challenged Muzzy, grabbed him, and I did fucking really well. I was just throwing hard and fast. Got his jersey over his head, which not intentionally, he just kind of slipped, but the way it happened, it handcuffed him a lot. And yeah, I took full advantage. But that was a good fighting year for me. I fought quite a few guys that were pretty tough. Let's fast forward a couple of more years. We're nearly there. 2012, 2013. Started off with a fight against James Archer up in Manchester. And I tell you what, I ended up winning the fight, but he hit me with the very first punch he hit me with. He gave me deja vu, and I didn't even know it was happening. If he'd have just let go of me, I would have probably dropped. But he hit me again, and it woke me up. And I took over the fight, but lucky for me, because I would have got my ass kicked. That was another one. He went after Pinky. Man, I fought a lot. I fought a lot for those boys. Craig Elliott. This was Sheffield versus Swindon. I think I read something to you a minute ago. So this is from an article from the Swindon Advertiser. Despite being well behind, the host did not lose heart. Watt ripped the gloves off to take on Elliott, with the referee eventually having to take down the Swindon man in order to stop the fight. There's a couple of really good pictures there of, if you remember the Ryan Whitney picture when he fought, was it Cass that made his head disappear? No, Jackman. Yeah, there's I've got a couple of good ones like that with Elsie. And then that same game, I fought Derek Campbell. Probably Pinky again. He went after one of the imports. I literally just got out of the box. I was the closest guy. Luckily, I didn't have time to think about it. And I thought I did okay, mate. I thought I did okay. He was an elitely tough guy, and I held my own. I was buzzing after that. And then later on that year, they were playing a game in Basingstoke. I had the night off. So I went down to watch, and we stood in the bar. And he's like, oh, hey, boy. He's like, let me get you a drink. I was like, I'll just have what you're having. Dude drinks White Russians. I was like, what the fuck? Like, right? You know me.
Yeah.
You know me. I'll drink anything. Like, okay, that's fine. Let's do it. But yeah, what a tough dude. Lee Hayward. I did eventually get the chance to fight him. It was in that game, and I actually fought him with one hand because my other hand was broken. He ended up on the deck, just hit him with a couple. But Barry Hollerhead. Here's another goalie fight. You'll like this one. So Barry Hollerhead. Anyone that knows him knows he's a chirpy piece of shit. Actually, that's on the ice. What a guy, by the way. What a funny bastard. But we're battling in front. And the ref calls a delayed penalty, and he starts skating out of his net towards back to the bench. But I don't know that, so I just dropped my shit and grabbed him, and I hit him with a couple. There was actually another funny story we were talking about offline. Where is it? Oh, it's from Aldi talking to the Shropshire Press. it probably gave us talking about mine and Holyhead's fight. It probably gave us an edge, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if Holyhead was trying to fight Watty or trying to get to the bench for a penalty. It wasn't too rough. They went down pretty early and everyone got in there and held on, so it wasn't too ugly. I think it was more they were struggling side. I don't think we played well. But yeah, so that later that game, I ended up fighting Tommy Watkins and I hit him with a couple. I thought I did all right against Tommy. He shouldn't have been fighting me, really. It's classed as a win on drop your gloves, but yeah, Tommy. But I think he stepped in because I thought his goalie. I can understand that. So bearing in mind I'm now in Swindon, having played with Gaza for the 2 seasons prior, I ended up fighting Gaza very early. They had an import, can't remember what his name was, but he hit me low in the very first shift of the game, and I went after him, and Gaza stepped in, and this is probably one of the cleanest, flushest punches I've ever hit anyone with. Caught Gaza straight on the butt, and I did really well against Gaza. I thought I would find it a little bit tougher. By the way, I went to watch him. He was throwing it about last night. He looked like he was 25 out there. Probably one of Bracknell's better players. So shout out to Gaza. Alan Lack. Again, this was in a brawl, I believe. Who was fighting? And someone came off the bench. I wasn't allowed to fight because I had a broken hand. But then, if you watch the video, Aldi comes round the back of the chat and goes, "Go on, Watty." And yeah, you see a video. I reached around the ref and fucking crunch him because I was pissed off. I said to Lackey, "Don't," so I got a broken hand, and he just started throwing. And then I was like, well, he's punching me anyway. So I ended up like getting the better of him, get on top of him, and then I suckered him at the end, which was pretty cheap, but I thought he was cheap. So it kind of came out in the wash. Greg Pick, first time I fought him, playing for Basingstoke. He went after Seski. I'd never heard of him. I think he just came back from Canada. By the way, he's a shout out for one of my top teammates as well. Greg Pick, what a guy. And we went at it. Probably won the fight, but I was a little bit pissed off, wanted to go again, but he didn't want to go again. Fair enough. I think we could have had a better one had we squared up and went centre ice as opposed to just one of those ones that come off of the play. But yeah, nonetheless, what a guy. Love Picky. Aaron Connolly. This was a good fight. This was in Basingstoke, centre ice. This is a funny one because we're battling with Greener and Mindy Kirias and stuff, and Connolly comes in. If you see us square up and then we end up at centre ice. Because I'm saying, if we're going to go, you need to give me a minute. I'm at the end of my fucking shift. So if you watch the build-up, it's quite slow. Just getting some gas in the tank. Then me and Aaron had a good throwdown. What a player he's gone on to be. And then Craig Elliott, Sheffield Basingstoke. So I was suspended for the Sheffield game away. And he went after Seski. Seski ended up getting kicked out of the game. And they come down to us the next week. And we're warming up before. And I'm fucking rattled the whole time. I'm so rattled. I see him warming up before. I'm like, we're going first shift. So, all right. So we line up, we go first shift. That's where the linesmen get in the way after the fall. And then once we were like, get out the way, get out the way. I grab on, I hit him with a left. And if you look in the video, I could have hit him again when he was down. But I pulled back. But yeah, so that was it. And then into my last season, well done if you're still here, because that is a lot of fights. So in my last year, Sam Smith, it was one of my first games for Peterborough. I wanted to make an impression. He hit one of our guys into the corner, so I just steamrolled straight in there, dropped my gloves, put him up against the plexi and split him for about 10. He ended up getting like 2+2. I ended up getting kicked out of the game.
You were kicked out of almost every game for Phantoms. I'm sure of it.
Let's have a look. 95 PIMs in 20 games for the Phantoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, when I was in Guildford, I had 30 PIMs in 20 games. Mad, isn't it? That can't be right. That can't be right. Nathan Salem, he hit Luke Ferrara, knee on knee. I just came straight over there, hit him with a couple, went down. I ended up getting kicked out of that, probably justified. Salem was never going to go me, but also not going to let somebody go knee on knee with one of your better players. Kieran Long, this was in front of the net again, one of these battles that you don't really want to have. Stringers is known for being able to scrap a little bit, but he shouldn't have been fighting me. Like, it's as broad as it is long. He shouldn't have. Eddie Beveris, he's one of the toughest hombres you ever get your hands on. He is so fucking strong.
Yeah,
He is
he's a great player as well.
Great player, so strong. I love to watch him play. He really makes Swindon tick. I really enjoy him being there.
Everywhere he's
Oh,
been,
sorry, go on.
mate. Everywhere he's been, he's done a job. Like
Yeah,
seriously.
yeah. Stanislav Lasic. There's a video of this.
MK.
Yeah, there's a video of this one out here.
Yeah.
He's a chippy bastard anyway. And if you watch the video, we're on a penalty kill. I come in off the off point and I cross check him in the lower back, and he flies about 15 feet. He turns up and he looks at me. Do you know, like I was going back to, if you're going to turn around, look, we're going to go. And yeah, I speed bagged him. Yeah, I didn't like him. He's a good player though. He was a good player.
Very good player.
Yeah, very good player. Muzzy. This is where it's a TKO loss for me. Although I don't know how. I think I landed 16 punches. He lands 1, and it's a TKO loss. I don't know how that. I went down. I don't know. I shouldn't have been fighting him anyway. I had a concussion. Then he moaned at me. This is what I love about Muzzy. So what the fuck are you doing, Watty? But at this point, we didn't really know. I would never do that now. And then, wow, is that the very last fight of my career? What a shame. Grant McPherson. Me and Bowers battling down behind the net in Guildford. So was Grant. We ended up going centre ice and fucking fell over. Brutal. What a shit one. I've had more fights than that, but they're the ones that are on there. So think of my top 5. You're going to have Bradley Watchorn. I didn't even talk about Pisey. Have I missed the season?
You must.
I know,
you
this year.
Missed out some of the Peterborough scraps.
Yeah, maybe I've missed a couple, but yeah. So in wrap up, we got to have Muzzy in the top 5. We got to have Jeffries in the top 5. We got to have Brad Watchorn in the top 5. I'll probably put Jake French in the top 5 for what a valuable lesson it taught me. And Mr. Andreas Kaminskas, he's got to be in the top 5. So in no particular order, it was yeah, probably Jake French number 1 actually, because that probably taught me the most lesson.
That was really early on in your.
Yeah, I was at 18.
So do you think that really helped you? Sometimes it's good to take the worst punishment at the beginning and learn from it.
I'm just glad everybody else didn't punch that hard. Honestly, just like if everybody else punched that hard, I wouldn't have done it.
That's crazy considering the list of names that you've given me.
Yeah,
there's some tough guys on there.
Yeah, and none of them punch as hard as Jake French. Honestly, his hands are like fucking concrete. It's one of those ones you get hit, you're like, ugh! Oh my god, what was that? What was that? Arch probably that punch Arch hit me in Manchester was probably one of the cleanest punches I've been hit with.
He's quite. You know what? I found that he was. When he would scrap it always come out well. He was a very under the radar kind of guy. As a player, phenomenal. And
so those fucking Yorkshire lads, man.
Those Yorkshire lads
are tough. Those Yorkshire lads have made a different shit up there. But yeah, so that was my top 78 fights. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out Hockey Fights UK on Twitter. Don't forget to check out 4,000 Accounting. I really hope you enjoyed this. Mark, you got anything before we wrap this?
No, mate, that was I wasn't expecting that many
ever.
fights. Yeah, that was. I just sat there like it makes me realise how much I misdropped the gloves.
Yeah, and it makes me really, really grateful that I printed this off and just to have dates, and because I think my memory is pretty good for someone that had 78 or fucking however many fights. Pretty much remembered all of them. 78
fights and 60 concussions.
Didn't lose enough for that, mate. Most of my concussions came from hits. One of the worst concussions, I skated into Brent Goff in the corner, and I came from this way to that way, and I skated into and didn't see him. And I was in the far end of the Bracknell ice rink trying to get to the bench. It was the longest skate of my life. It was brutal, and it was completely unintentional. Completely unintentional. He didn't see me. I didn't see him. We just collided, and as I came this way, my head collided with the middle of his chest. Just folded me up like a red hot Mars bar. But that was fun. I enjoyed that. And let us know what ones you want to see. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comments. Subscribe, like, share, do all the usual stuff. Let's build this YouTube as well as the 4,000 YouTube. Do it. Right. Peace.
Ciao.